Yo, how's it hanging, homies? It is me, Master Steph, back with it. So if you just watched my last video, you saw I reacted to the set 2 starter deck, as well as all of the red cards spoiled for set 2. So today's video, I'll be looking at all of the purple cards spoiled for set 2, talking about them, giving them my thoughts, and just kind of like generally reviewing them. This video should be a lot shorter than the last one because I'm only doing purple today, since all of the purple cards have already been spoiled. And what I'll probably do is I'll do the same thing for all the white cards. I'll wait for them to spoil all the white cards first, then I'll just do all of them in one video to make it easier, instead of separating each set of like 4 pictures into one video. It seems like a bit excessive to me. So yeah, today we're going over purple. But before we get started, please, if you enjoy my content and you really like it, feel free to like and share. You don't have to even share it. Just feel free to like. It helps a lot. It lets people know you enjoy my content, and it makes sure more eyes get seen by the content. So feel free to take a moment, click that like button. You don't even have to stop listening to the sultry sound of my voice to do it. And let's go ahead and get into these purple spoilers for set 2, False Gods. All right, so the first card we have up for set 2 of False Gods. So these are going to be all the purple cards. All of the purple cards for set 2 have been spoiled already. So the first one here is Floating Grave White Whale. It is an undead card, 8 costs. I think that's one of the, besides Maduke, it's like the highest. No. I think purple has like a 9 cost too, right? But anyway, it says, when this spirit attacks, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Select one of your opponent's spirits for each spirit card discarded this way. Remove all but 1 core from each of those spirits and place the cores into your opponent's reserve. So some more purple soul control shenanigans. And then during your attack step, when one of your spirits attacks reduces your opponent's life, select one of your opponent's spirits, place 1 core from it into their reserve. So it's a mill 3 to potentially reduce cores of 3 different spirits to 1. And it's every time you attack, so that's interesting. And then during your attack step, if you deal damage to them, you can then remove cores completely. So that's going to be an interesting card for soul control. I don't know if they'll actually be able to use it because it's kind of expensive. But I guess it also depends if there's a lot more mill cards, right? Because I think milling is probably a way that purple wants to go. So removing cards from your own deck because of things like Beldegor, but I feel like there's not enough things like Beldegor, right? So milling 3 cards feels pretty excessive. Granted, you do have things like if you're playing Curse, there's ways to get Curse cards back from the grave, and then you can obviously get Beldegor back from the grave, but I don't know if there's enough cards to really make that useful, but maybe we'll see some of these purple spoilers, right? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, well, White Whale makes sense now. Anyway, next we have Dark General Bloody Caesar. I like that name. Bloody Caesar's a cool ass name. But he's a familiar, which is that a new archetype in purple? I don't play enough purple, so I don't know if familiar already existed, but I feel like familiar is new. But it's just a vanilla, super vanilla, but good stats, like 1 core for 4K. Granted, it's kind of expensive, but nice stats, right? Next, we have Void Ogre Emperor Avaritia, which is a Void Lord. This dude looks way sicker than the Red Void Lord, like holy. So 10 costs, so I'm assuming it's going to be a common trend among all the Void Lords. They're all going to be 10 costs. He's also a familiar, which is interesting. So when summoned, select a Void Lord or Undead, there it is, in your trash, right? So select a Void Lord or Undead Spirit card in your trash, summon it without paying its cost. That's huge. So for those who don't know, when any card currently says you can summon something from your trash, you still have to pay the cost for that thing you're summoning, right? So for like example, Beldegor, his Immortal, when you summon him, you still have to pay the cost to summon him from the trash. Or like Arvata that summons a 2-drop in yellow, you still have to pay the cost to summon it, even though it says summon it. But because he says without paying the cost, that means you get to summon it for free and then just drop cores on it, which is super strong. Spirit summon with this effect do not have their when summoned effects activated, so you can't cheese out Beldegors for free. That makes sense. That's actually a pretty good card. Once again, it's very expensive, but it's so strong that you just get to summon a card for free from your trash. So like, that makes, once again, it makes the White Whale a bit better. So like if you mill like a Maduke, or you mill, actually no, Maduke's not, is Maduke? No, she's a serpent. So I don't know. You can summon him. He can summon himself actually. There's no, so if he's in your trash, you can play him and then summon himself, which means you get 2 giant dudes on the board, which is why I now understand why he doesn't trigger when summoned effects, or else you could just summon like 4 of him in one turn and just kill your opponent. That'd be crazy. But yeah, that's super sick. Yeah, that's a cool card. That's way cooler than the red Void Lord in my opinion. He also has Curse when he's level 2. Nice. And then level 3, your opponent selects one of their spirits, remove 3 cores from it, and place them into the reserve. So he can basically kill almost anything whenever he attacks, and he gets to summon something for free. Very strong card, very cool. I like the art. That is a very cool thing. And his name is cool too. Void Ogre Emperor. What a Chad. All right, moving on. Next, we have a random red card here. Okay. Random. Okay. But we have a Paterno Saber, just a vanilla red card that just is a Sky Feint that just snuck his way in here somehow. I was not expecting to see a red card in with the purple cards. But moving on, I guess I forgot about that one last time. So next we have Skullzered, just a vanilla undead lizard skeleton. We have Y-Bone, another vanilla undead. All right, interesting. I guess they have a lot of vanilla undead, so you can mill them and then call them back with the Void Lord dude, I guess. Then we have Gravedigger Skeleton, 3 cost undead. When summoned, you may select a spirit that costs 2 or fewer from your trash and summon it exhausted. Interesting, but that exhausted spirit does keep his when summoned effect. So that'd be interesting how that works. Something get it exhausted might not be ideal, but it could be like good fodder because you can get back maybe something that has a destroy effect, so it's fodder for your balance, deadly balances and things like that. So I don't think that's a bad card. I think it's pretty interesting. Corpse Giant Gigasha is an undead. Oh, that's Immortal. Oh, that's sick. But Immortal 6 or 10, very specific. Okay. So during either attack step, you may summon this spirit from your trash with one of your spirits that costs either 6 or 10 is destroyed. Very specific number. So if your Void Lord is destroyed or one of your 6 drops. When this spirit attacks, select one of your opponent's spirits with 1 core. That spirit cannot block during this battle. So another unblockable card, similar to Durham Dyna. So this card is interesting because I don't know how often this Immortal will come up. Like maybe you play a bunch of 6 drops and do purple, or maybe you play like white purple or red purple, and maybe he comes up all the time. You just play like Beldegor and splash him in. But I don't think he'll be like a full playset of, maybe like a 1 or 2 of, because I feel like Immortal 6 or 10 is very specific. But his attack is pretty decent for soul control, right? So that would be pretty interesting. All right, next, this lone guy right here, Emperor Night God Avalo Palladion. What a mouthful. His effect is when destroyed, select one of your opponent's spirits, remove 7 of its cores. 7 of its cores? Oh my God. And place them into the reserve. This is like, get anything off the board, please. Just get rid of it. That is insane. Thankfully, they all go back to the reserve, but 7 cores? He just does not want anything. And that works with like deadly balance. Obviously, it's expensive to play a 7-drop and then kill it yourself, but like that's huge. And then during either end step, if one or more of your spirits has been destroyed this turn, draw 2 cards at the start of the step. Wow. That's really good. Yeah, he just draws, so he could potentially sit on the board, have you draw 2 every turn, right? Like you don't even want him to get destroyed for that effect. You just want to have him to be a draw engine. You just make sure something dies each turn. Like your opponent will basically have to just not attack. That's crazy. That's a really good card actually. I think a card, and it's a shadow, so it gets some shadow support. That's super sick. I like that card a lot. I like that card a lot actually. Next we have Dark Knight Larmorrack, another shadow. When destroyed, select one of your opponent's spirits, remove one of the cores and place into the reserve. Decent when destroy effect. During your turn, the first time one of your purple spirits is destroyed each turn, return that spirit card from your trash to your hand. Oh, so that's interesting. Does he count himself? I wonder if he counts himself, because if that's the case, that would be pretty interesting for him to put himself back. That also combo, there was some other card we read earlier, right? Where there's that card that you play cards from your hand for like some, oh wait. I don't know, there's so many, I gotta go back and look at all the cards again, because that sounds like a really interesting effect, especially for purple. Like if you have a card that has like a decent, are there any cards that have when summoned and when destroyed effects? I don't know if there are. It's interesting. That's an interesting card. It's hard to keep up with all the new cards, right? I had to like go and actually like look over them, but that card could be, I can see that card getting played for sure. All right, more purple spoilers. So the rare, this card looks like an X rare. Like the art just gives me X rare vibes. The fact that it's only a rare kind of blows my mind. But Divine Saturn Dragon Chronos Boros. I like that name. When destroyed by opponent, your opponent selects one of their spirits, remove 3 of his cores, and place them into the reserve. So it does specify when destroyed by opponent, so it doesn't work with deadly balance and things like that. But still, removing 3 cores when it dies is pretty strong. And then when summoned, if you spend a soul core as part of the spirit summoning cost, your opponent selects one of their spirits, remove a core that is not a soul core from it, and place it into the void. So it has anti-ramp. So it anti-ramps you, makes you lose cores permanently. I mean, granted, you get it back, but like still, it doesn't just put it in the trash, not reserve, it just gets rid of it. That's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. Oh, wait a minute. Does he combo with the guy? Hold on, wait, I'm sorry. Only during your turn. Okay, never mind. So I was gonna say that would be cool if you have him on the board, he gets destroyed by an opponent, he goes back to your hand, you summon him back down and keep anti-ramping him. That would be interesting, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Sag. And he's not an undead or a void lord, so it doesn't work with the void lord either. Oh well, that would be a cool way if you could find a way to like keep bouncing him back to your hand and resummon him like every turn or something, just to keep your opponent minus on cores. That'd be pretty interesting play. There might be some kind of way to set it up, but I'm not sure. I have to see when it comes out. Viperola, a serpent. When summoned, select one of your opponent's nexuses. Place 1 core from it into their reserve. This might be more of a tech card, right? Because like this card could come in handy if there's a lot of nexuses that need to have cores on them, or people really want the cores on them. But I feel like right now a lot of people are playing nexuses that are fine just being at 0. Like you have like Scorched Battlefield or like Volcanic Canyon, or even like Blessed Cathedral. With Blessed Cathedral, sure, you want the 3 cores on it for the extra card draw, but like you're also fine with just having it ramp you a core, right? So don't know how useful this card would actually be, but if more nexuses that want those extra cores become more relevant, I can see it being like a good like tech card at the very least, like a sideboard card or something. But also feel like if more nexuses become popular, you're gonna just sideboard more Durham Dynas anyway too, so like whatever. Headless Slicer, a vanilla shadow with 6 cores for 7k. That's kind of excessive, I feel. I don't know if you would ever actually, this card might be trash. If I'm wrong in the future and I eat my words, I eat my words, but that might be trash. Great, you can play it for 1, but 6 cores to get to 7k. Otherwise, it's burning forcible. I don't know if I like that. Earth Prison Knight Leftus, and he's just 4 cores. Let's see, that's more reasonable. 4 cores for 7k as opposed to 6 cores for 7k. That's way more reasonable. Granted, he costs a bit more technically. Well, he costs less, but he has less reduction. So at a minimum, you can only play him for 2. But I think I'd rather play 2 and put 4 for 7k than pay 1 and put 6, right? That's 7 total. This guy can get to the same number for 6 total. So I feel like that's just a better card in most instances. Unless you're maybe just like, if you want to, maybe there's gonna be like a weird like purple shadow aggro build where you just want a bunch of cheap guys, so you don't care about the 6 core part. And maybe it's just to prevent aggro for getting too out of hand. That way it stays in a burning forcible range, right? So you can play a purple aggro, but it's more susceptible to removal. That makes sense. But in a vacuum, this card seems like a just way worse version of this card, right? And they're both shadows, so I don't know. And then Diviner Dragon Naga. So it's a serpent. When summoned, if you spend a soul core as part of the spirit summoning cost, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, discard any number of them, return any remaining cards to the top of your deck. Oh, this card is super good. Holy. So it's a scry, but you don't have to discard, right? You can just look at the top 2 and then place them in the order you want to draw them in. That's super good. Or like, so like if you draw 2, you see like a Beldegor, or if you get like 2 Beldegors, you can just discard both of them. You could just, it's a way to thin your deck. It's a way to scry and look at cards in your deck. It's a way to set up cards to go into your discard. That is so good. This is one of the best purple cards I think I've seen so far. And purple doesn't really need to hold into the soul core like that for most of its effects, unless you're playing like it's like curse and you want to keep it for like the draw effects or like the Camelot Knight's curse effect or whatever. But like this card is kind of sick. I like this card a lot. What the heck? Wow, that's so good. So you can look at the top two. You can discard both of them. So once again, if it's 2 Beldegors, it's 2 Beldegors in the trash, great. And you've thinned your deck by 2 cards. You could put both of them back if it's 2 cards you want to keep. If it's like an ice shield or something else, you can put the ice shield on top to make sure you draw into it first. Yeah, and then if it's a card you like an ice shield and a Beldegor goes to trash, ice shield comes to hand, and you got it. That's super good. That's so good. I could honestly see that card being teched into other colors. That's not just purple, just for the way to kind of like either cycle through your deck faster or to make sure you draw what you want. Like, I don't think I'd run it in Nova, but like I could see myself teching in 2 in Nova just to make sure, like, increase my chances of drawing what I want to draw. Or I could do things like you can make sure that your effects like what's his face? You can make sure your effects like Andromedios actually hit, right? You can make sure you have a Star Dragon on top, those top 2 or those top 3. Or even better, this could actually add, once again, I don't know how good it would be, but this could actually go in like a Fabled Beast deck. Because like I've been playing Fabled Beast recently, and one of the most annoying things is accidentally milling a ice shield or something with Flying Turtles effect. So you could play this, see what the cards are, and guarantee you hit Flying Turtles effect or something like that. So that card has a multitude of uses, in my opinion, right? I think it's pretty good. That's the point of this, is that I think this card is pretty good. Okay, that's basically what I'm getting at. And then these are the last few cards here. So last 5 cards. So let's go ahead and get these out of the way. Ripper Princess Azalea. I love the art for this. She looks super sick. I like the sight and everything. So she has Curse, and then when summoned, if you summon the spirit from your hand, discard the top card of your deck, exhaust the spirit if the discarded card is not a spirit. Huh? That even worth it? What? I don't think I like that at all. One thing is milling, right? But if it's not a spirit, it means you're discarding a magic or a nexus, and there's no way to get those back. So you almost never want to discard either of those things. So that just doesn't seem worth it. What? That's so strange. I'd have to figure out why that's the way that is. That seems not great to me, but I love the art. She looks great. But that just seems not worth to me. You know, just in a vacuum once again. Elefog, a 5-cost spirit beast that can cost 1 and has Curse. That's pretty good. That's really good if you're trying to build like a Curse aggro. That's strong. I like that. Cyclo Winder, another Immortal. Okay, getting more Immortals in. During either attack step, Immortal costs 1 or 4. So very specific again, has to be a 1 cost or a 4 cost. But that's pretty good. So I think running that, because like he's a 6 cost, right? So he works with the other guy's Immortal 6 or 10. So you could do like an Immortal deck where you have like Beldegor, the other guy, this guy, the Void Lord, right? Because if he dies, you get back a Beldegor and the other guy. If you're playing Curse aggro, like a 1-drop dies, you get back him, and then if he dies, you get back, like, it's like they can cycle through each other. So you can basically make it where you can always maybe have something on board, which is cool. I like that. That's pretty neat. Ashtar, just a vanilla. It's like a Nightling. It looks like little, like, kind of reminds me of Knights in a weird, strange way. Whatever. And then last card of the set is Slimy. It's just a vanilla slime. That's all it is. Vanilla slime. 8K for 6 cores though. Not bad for a vanilla that can be played for 1. Also, I feel like it's better than the other guy we saw, the Shadow guy. But anyway, so that is going to be it. That is the last card, and then it goes into white. So like I said, I'm not going to go over the white cards. I'm going to wait until they release all of the white cards, and then I'll do a video like this, kind of talking about each one. And I will avoid looking at spoilers, or I'll do my best to, because I'm trying to make this all raw reaction, right? But yeah, so that's it for the last card. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been fun. I'm super excited for set 2. And once again, let me know, what was your favorite purple card in all of these cards? So I think, like I said, I mean, it might be obvious, but that the Diviner Dragon Naga, I think she's sick. I'm definitely going to try her in more than just purple decks, because I feel like she can go in a lot of different cards, or a lot of different decks. I think that effect is crazy. I am also just a big fan of scrying or being able to top check the cards and see what's coming next. That's always fun to me in every card game I play. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully it's a bit shorter than the last one. I didn't want it to go on for too long. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Take it easy. Peace out.